So we're continuing from where we left off with the mysteries of the silent brotherhood of the East. This is chapter 8, titled The Council of the Seven of the World. In every age since time began, but 7 sages lived. At first of every age, these sages meet to note the course of nations, peoples, tribes, and tongues, to note how far towards justice and love the race has gone, to formulate the art of law, religious postulates, and plans of rule best suited to the coming age. An age has passed, and lo, another age had come. The sages must convene. Now Alexandria was the center of the world's best thought, and here in Philo's home, the sages met. From China came Mengistu. From India came Vidyapati. From Persia came Caspar. And from Assyria, Ashbina came. From Greece, Apollo came. Matheno was the Egyptian sage. And Philu was the chief of Hebrew thought. The time was due. The council met and sat in silence 7 days. And the Mengistu rose and said, "The wheel of time has turned once more. The race is on a higher plane of thought. The garments that our fathers wore have given out. The cherubim have woven a celestial cloth that placed it in our hands, and we must make for men new garbs. The sons of men are looking up for greater light. No longer do they care for gods hewn out of wood. They seek for Allah, not made with hands. They see the beams of coming days, and yet comprehend them not. The time is ripe, and we must fashion them, and we must fashion well these garments for the race. And let us make for men new garbs of justice, mercy, and love, and they may hide their nakedness when shines the light of coming days." In Vidyapati said, "Our priests have all gone mad. They saw a demon in the wilds, and at him cast their lamps. And they are broken up, and not a gleam of light has any priest for men. The night is dark. The heart of India calls for light. The priesthood cannot be reformed. It is already dead. Its greatest needs are graves and funeral chants. The new age calls for liberty, the kind that matches, or the kind that makes each man a priest. The kind that makes each man a priest, enables him to go alone and lay his offerings on the shrine of Allah." And Caspar said, "In Persia, people walk in fear. They do the good for fear to do the wrong. The devil is the greatest power in our land. And though a myth, he dandles on his knees, both young and old. Our land is dark, and evil prospers in the dark. Fear rides on every passing breeze and lurks in every form of life. The fear of evil is a myth, is an illusion and snare, but it will live until some mighty power shall come to raise the ethers to the plane of light." So that's Ali Khan Islam, happy holy day.
Islam, happy holy day.
Islam, happy holy day.
Yamila Islam, happy holy day.
Islam Sheikh, happy holiday, everybody.
Islam.
So that was chapter 8, the Council of the Seven of the World. Any thoughts on that? Razir, Mataz Maji, Phoenix?
Yeah, I got something came up in my head. It says, the seven, the council of the seven, right? And I was thinking, like, today's a holy day, and if you think about it, in the Bible, what does it say? It says he rested on the seventh day, but it only took him 6 days to create the heavens and earth. And if you think start on Sunday, which is another, considered another holy day, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is the 6th day. And then he rested on the 7th. So, Friday is holy day. I don't know. Something that came up in my head.
Yeah, man. We brainstorming, man. It's all good, man. I feel what you're saying. I feel like it's a lot of layers.
Yeah.
I feel like
I mean, it's a 7th day. It only makes sense that Friday is the 6th day, of the week. And what's it called? You get to rest right after that. So Friday would be the real holy day because it only took them 6 days, but on the 7th he rested.
right. I see what you're saying. What came to my mind was, as far as the old time and a new time, as far as how things need to be looked at and how people are looking at things as a whole. People, as you can see in this chapter, the human beings are looking for the light more than ever.
Yeah.
So that's something like all across the board. That's a trend. And based on that, certain things gotta, certain philosophies, mind states.
You got to decipher,
Yes, like the priesthood is dead. We all become the priests,
Right.
Ourselves. Like we'll go we don't need anybody to lead us. Like, everybody wants to lead us into God's house or whatever. Just like we have our own house. We can lead ourselves. We just are the one. But I like that. I don't know that line. I think it's at the end.
I mean, coming together with like-minded people, it's only gonna. It's like one person. You think one person is unstoppable. What happens if you have a whole group of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for me, hearing this, like 7 is like the number of perfection. It has to do with spirituality. So this was like preparation for spiritual elevation, like how they're talking about the garments were old and they had to change them, blending the old with the new. Like as time changes, some stuff change. It don't always necessarily have to stay the same.
Right.
And then that last line, the fear of evil is a myth, is an illusion. That one hit hard, like, yeah. But once you, I think the end of it says something about you raise to the ethers. Once you get past that fear, you automatically elevate into a new light.
Right. Yeah, you're another plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like shackles. You're breaking out of shackles.
All in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, you know, what they tell you going to, you gotta protect your temple, you know, but I was
Yes.
Any other thoughts on this chapter? There you go, chapter 23. Fear of evil is a myth, is an illusion and snare.
Yes, that's what holds us down.
It will live. Now that illusion only lives until some mighty power shall come to raise the ethers to the plane of light.
Mhm. Or
And
it's
that-
going to be the greatest power. Like,
And that power is not like a one, like we just said earlier, it's not like a one savior coming. It's everybody has that power within to raise the ethers to the plane of light. So you're gonna kill the illusion of the fear in your own self. You know?
I remember in the Apocalypto said fear is a sickness. He
Right.
said there's no place in his village. Like he was telling them. Like, get that shit out of here.
it's
Like that's like there's really like a mental
Fuck.
illness. It keeps
Mhm.
you from doing a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It sure will. It'll stop you. And they tell you love, like you don't have no fear when you have love. Like you don't really think about it. Like you just do it.
Mm-hmm.
He loved his son so much, he told him not to have no fear and tell like a man.
Mhm.
That's how he's the only one that made it out.
Mhm.
Rosleon, happy holy day, happy solar return, man.
Islam.
Solar return.
Happy solar return, more.
Happy solar return.
I think you have a technical difficulty, but I think he heard you.
I'm turning up.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
I know you probably on Pluto somewhere.
Yeah, you know. I got to see everybody. Come on, join me.
Yeah.
Happy holiday. Glad everybody's here.
Yeah, happy holiday, man. Hope you have a
Happy holy day.
enjoying your solar return, man.
Thank you, thank you.
Happy solar return.
Happy solar return.
Thank you, family.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on this chapter? The transition. All right. So we're transitioning to astro diagnosis. We're still in the kidneys. The specific chapter dealing with bladder trouble. We're dealing with a female born October 21st, 1886, at 11 a.m. So when we note that the moon and Mercury, which are significators of the mind, are squaring each other from fixed signs, it is at once evident that this patient will be rather set in her opinions and on that account, difficult to handle. A person with Leo or Aries rising, whose Saturn is not in Gemini, would probably have the best success in making her obey orders. Saturn, the planet of obstruction, in Cancer, the sign which rules the stomach, shows that the digestion is poor. And his square to the Sun, Jupiter, and Venus, placed the sign in Libra, which rules the kidneys, indicates that there is a difficulty in the removal of the waste material through these organs. The Sun, being close to the cusp of Scorpio, the sign which rules the rectum, further accentuates the trouble. The trouble of elimination, showing that the person is subject to constipation. So now we see why the person has constipation. Difficulty of waste removal. It should be noted that when the significator of the bladder trouble is in the forepart of the sign Libra, the difficulty will usually be found in the kidneys themselves. But in the latter part of Libra, the bladder will be affected. Thus, following out this line of judgment, we may know that as the Sun is the 28 degrees of Libra, the trouble will be found more in the bladder than in the kidneys. The square of the moon to Mercury in Scorpio shows that there is nervous trouble in the rectal region. Altogether, the various signs and aspects which we have enumerated show that this person is suffering from constipation and bladder trouble. This is not all. We find Mars, the planet of surgery, conjunction Antares. When one of the malefics is placed near the nubula spot of Antares, Sagittarius 8 degrees, and either of the lights are afflicted, trouble with the eyes is quite certain to result. In this horoscope, both the Sun and Moon are afflicted, one by a square to Saturn and the other by a square to Mercury. We may therefore judge that this woman will have trouble with her eyes, and as Mars is placed in the 12th house, which rules confinement, and hospitals are kindred places, it is evident that she is facing a grave danger from that source. It is also plain from the horoscope that Saturn in Cancer is the root of all the trouble by obstructing the digestion. And if we can once convince the patient that right living is the key to health, it may not be too late to restore the tone of the system. It will probably be very difficult to do so, convince her on account of her fixed mental attitude, indicated by the square of the moon and Mercury in fixed signs. The diet, of course, consisting of whole wheat, bread, and vegetables, which have a great deal of fiber in them, will be necessary to stimulate the peristaltic action of the bowels. Asparagus and other foods which act on the kidneys, with plenty of lettuce and spinach, which are full of iron, will help to tone the system up so that in time elimination will become normal. And then the eyes will grow better. And when my mind went to the whole opposite thing, we dealing with bowels, releasing of toxins. When that's going properly, your eyesight is better. The eyes are at the opposite of the secretion glands, the glands that secrete, urine, whatever, what may have you. And the remedy is always the opposite side of the body. Dr. Sebi spoke on that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Dr. Sebi confirms that when something's wrong with your eyes, it's they're in something in your stomach.
Hmm.
But he does say that on record. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't.
Oh, speaking of that, which is crazy because I seen someone work with cataracts and stomach issues with like ascites, when the fluid gets built up in the stomach, when you have ascites, something's wrong with the liver. And I was looking at the individual and I was like, oh my gosh, thinking of vascular diagnosis. But yeah, maybe if I
Mhm.
Yeah, not too long ago, my pops was terminally ill, and what's it called? His eyes would turn colors.
Islam Kyrie, peace and love, happy holy day.
We still love everybody. Islam.
Islam.
Yeah.
Just that, what you said about the and what Taja Maji about the Dr. Sebi, because like a lot of the foods that they're suggesting in this astral diagnosis are now alkaline. So like a lot of them we don't use anymore. There's other versions that will not compromise the body as far as the acidity or starchiness that will cause more issues. Like dandelion greens would be better instead of spinach.
Right.
Right.
That's
Yes.
crazy. That's psychic right there. But when I read over spinach in my mind, I thought just like what you just said.
Yeah, man.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
acidic, right? The hybrid.
Yeah, he says that. Yeah, he says spinach isn't real. It's hybrid. But it makes sense though, because I thought about it. I was like, Popeye.
Yep.
Like they wouldn't promote Popeye eating spinach, something good for you, or carrots. He said the same thing about carrots. I was like, yeah,
Yep.
Bugs Bunny. Like they promoted these things to be good for you, obviously to make spinach was to make you strong, and of course it's bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Carrot is actually literally made from a poisonous plant. It's
Yeah.
hybrid. Queen Anne's lace, I think it's called, and they mixed it with a wild carrot. That's how they got that one.
Wow.
So, all the carrot juice and all that, we're trying to fix our eyes. You actually making them worse.
Yeah. Yep. And then and Dr. Sebi says that, and I always was well, when you think about it, I was confused at first, but when you think about it, I was like, yeah, they promoted that very, very, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're all about artificial intelligence. So anything artificial, they can push it first. That's the only thing they can patent also.
Right. Exactly. So of course, I kind of figured like, yep, it's
Like
probably not
even
good for us.
that guy Mendel or whoever it was that was doing all the splicing of the beans, he was hybridizing. So a lot of that was done in monasteries. What kind? Catholic.
Right.
Dude, I was even reading about how the Spanish were condemning the natives for they were trying to basically eradicate amaranth because they were offering it to their gods.
Yep.
All that. So nutritious.
Yep. That's a very good one. Because like those grains grow like in a stalk above the ground. The rice that we eat, it's like underwater or underground type of thing. It's a different type. And then they're bleaching it on top of that. It's starch already. Adding more and more.
Amaranth gives the grain that gives me kind of like oatmeal vibe, but I guess it's healthier.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is This stuff, keeping the forefront of your mind, you know.
What are you reading from?
This is a book called Astro Diagnosis by Max Wendell.
Rosicrucian,
Yeah, he's a
author.
Rosicrucian guy. He came up through those ranks. So, you know, on a lot of different levels, you know, it's fascinating because for one, you see how they have this info in different circles. It's not like it's new because of course it's old. Astral diagnosis is old. You know, it's old ancient practices that are preserved and hidden from the masses. So they'll go grab the pills, you know, and things like that. Big business. But this book was written in the early 1900s too. I think before like 1940. It might have been like a 1908 or something. But in that you know, in that space. So but yeah, it never fails. Like we'll read something and like somebody said, my uncle had eyes that was like discoloration in the eyes to maybe turn blue or gray or something. I've seen that a lot. And I know a lot of alcoholics that got that type of look going on. And it makes perfect sense. You know, it's always a urine issue too with them.
Kidney, liver too.
Yeah,
A lot of times when they have liver failure, that's when the eyes turn dark yellow.
Hmm.
Happened to my uncle recently, a couple years back. He lost all the weight, but you could see the death in his eyes. But he lost the weight because everything was shutting down, not because he was cleaning out.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's right in front of us, you know. It's fascinating how the more you find out, the more you see that they're trying to keep stuff away from us. Because everything has a remedy. It's like it's nothing that's not curable or nothing that's not can be reversed based on how you treat your body moving forward. You can cause things to go into remission. And your body will naturally bounce back.
Mhm.
But yeah. Let me stop this recording.